Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And for as long as I've been holding XRP, this video of Brad Garlinghouse has been floating around over the past years. And it's one of the greatest videos of Brad because you could see why the IMF likes XRP so much. Brad Garlinghouse demolishes Bitcoin during a presentation to the IMF and Swiss National Bank on XRP. Take a listen.
Because it requires capital to get it there. Our view in the future is you don't have to have this pre-funding, and instead you can use a digital asset to have global liquidity on demand. Now, we build upon a tech stack, an open source technology called XRP. XRP originally was built by some engineers who had seen some of the flaws of Bitcoin and the challenges of scalability around Bitcoin. Where Bitcoin today, on a per transaction basis, it's rather slow and rather expensive. XRP is very fast, about 1,000 times faster per transaction and 1,000 times cheaper per transaction. The other dynamic, of course, of correspondent banking is some of the more quote unquote exotic currencies, exotic corridors have been left to kind of stand on their own. And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and a level playing field. Ripple's vision from the beginning really has been to apply these technologies in the same way that TCP/IP and HTTP are the technologies underpinning the Internet of Information. These blockchain technologies will be the underpinnings of an Internet of Value, where we have connected devices, we have connected information that will allow payments to flow. And as Norman was describing, if you're a large corporation moving $100 million, that's one thing. If you're a freelancer working in the Philippines doing design work for a company in London and you want to get paid $30 or 30 pesos, Philippine pesos, if that's not a transaction that can easily be enabled. And in fact, for the companies that enable that, they require the freelancer to set up an account and they don't actually pay it out until there's roughly 1,000 USD sitting in that account, and then they would pay it out.
What's great about this video is Brad addressed the level playing field, banking the unbanked. And I don't think we'll see the rise of a new financial system until every single person in the world has access to it. He also talked about the Internet of Value, and he talked about how horrible it is to use Bitcoin and how much better XRP actually is. Breaking 10 minutes ago, U.S. government sends 3,940 Bitcoin to Coinbase a day after getting approval to sell by a judge. The government is dumping Bitcoin. ETF's narrative were the perfect excuse to use retail as exit liquidity. First we seen Germany dumping Bitcoin. U.S. government now dumping some Bitcoin. And the narrative around Bitcoin is shifting at the same time. And that's why I'm always urging retail investors to break away from Bitcoin. Get invested into utility. Utility is the future of crypto. Major update, UAE halts crypto transactions. UAE officially banned the use of cryptocurrencies for buying goods and services. Only exception is for licensed dirham tokens, which are not available yet. What I think is going on here is, and I talked about this in yesterday's video a little bit, is that the UAE wants to push people towards their CBDC, push them away from using stablecoins at the same time. How is this going to impact XRP in the future? I don't think it's going to impact XRP at all, because Ripple is also building out the UAE's CBDC as well. We got to wait and see where this goes from here. New financial system. He's talking about the Brics. Take a listen to what he says that the Brics needs.
Prevents money laundering in theory and all that kind of thing. But what the BRICS nations are doing is saying, well, we don't need to use the SWIFT system because we don't want to be subjected again to U.S. sanctions, because if the U.S. is sanctioning you, you can't move money using that SWIFT system. So what's really interesting is, number one, they're creating a payment system that would go around SWIFT. But how do you do that when you have 5 major countries that all have their own currencies? And one of the ways they're doing that is by using possibly cryptocurrency to do that. That would translate their currencies into a single cryptocurrency that is then used through the system and then
What he's talking about is that they need a bridge currency. What is XRP? a bridge currency. Where does Ripple already have rails set up? Inside of every Brics country. Even the countries that are joining the Brics already have Ripple rails. XRP is the future. Just in, Coinbase officially sues the SEC. They're accusing the federal regulators of trying to cut out the crypto industry from American markets through a deliberate and concerted effort. Do you agree massive change in crypto regulation is coming to the USA? What Coinbase is doing is they're forcing the United States to come up with crypto regulations. And that's what's going to come next. I think once regulations are put in place, that's it. That's going to be the flip of the switch moment. All of a sudden, big financial institutions are going to be swarming in to get involved with crypto. Supreme Court limits ability of federal agencies to issue fines. I thought this was great. The SEC's anti-fraud provisions replicate common law fraud and is well established that common law claims must be heard by a jury. So they're saying that the SEC can no longer hand out these big fines. But it went beyond that. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the SEC Gov can no longer use in-house judges to try civil securities fraud cases, stripping the agency of one of its key enforcement tools. And I say it's about time. You know, the SEC has gotten away with all kinds of corruption behind the scenes. They turned their head to FTX. FTX would never even have happened if Gary would have did his job. And it's good to see that power is getting pulled away from the SEC. Bitstamp announced that it will delist Tether's EuroPeg stablecoin, EURT, by the end of June to comply with Europe's markets in crypto asset regulation. MiCA. Again, MiCA is gonna change everything as we push forward. And you know, people keep saying, oh, don't worry, Tether's still gonna succeed in this country and that country. You know what's going on right now? Is that every country is pushing towards MiCA-type regulations. Tether, in my opinion, does not have a future. UK watchdog boosts crypto division to 100 staff members. Here comes regulations to the UK. The UK's financial watchdog has bolstered its workforce dedicated to crypto, increasing the number of staff to 100. This expansion comes as the Financial Conduct Authority grapples with new regulatory issues in the digital asset market. They are going to have MiCA-like regulations. And, you know, this is the path forward. You know, everybody still wants the wild, wild west days of crypto. But how do you ever want these cryptocurrencies to reach their full potential? How do you see mass adoption happening without regulations? Mass adoption is going to come soon after we get crypto regulations. The US is also going to push in this direction. Reimagining capital utility with on-chain economies. Take a listen to this. This is a great clip.
The last thing I'd add is I think the on-chain economy has grown with the technology, so has now the dollars. I think 5-6 years ago, a lot of folks were holding tokens in centralized exchanges or self-custody and not doing a lot with those tokens. Now those tokens are being used in the economies on the various blockchains. So for example, Solana had $1.5 trillion of stablecoin value transfer last month in March. And when you see those types of numbers, it kind of forces large enterprises to think about how to engage with those economies. On those longer duration assets, the private fund tokenization, it's also adding liquidity and utility to those. So today, if I'm an investor in a private fund, there's virtually nothing I can do with that. You know, my name is on the cap table, and for 7 to 10 years, I just sit and wait until that comes back. On chain, with secondary markets, which don't really yet exist today for these assets, but will tomorrow, I think that provides liquidity and then utility. In the meantime, while I have that token, I can pledge it as collateral and borrow against it to use it for other needs that I may have today.
What I think we're going to see is once the big financial institutions get here, things are going to change very fast. But that's when we will be lending out our crypto and getting passive income from it. There's going to be better options because these big financial institutions are going to open up safer options for us. And this is the path forward. Tokenization is just part of it. It's going to go beyond that. And, you know, we're going to see mass adoption of crypto, but still a lot of people out there, a lot of your normie friends still aren't going to get involved with crypto, but they're going to be utilizing crypto every single day and not even knowing it. They're going to be going to the store and buying things, and it's going to be using blockchain technology in the background. That's what I see coming next. But regulations are the path to getting us there. And that's why I talked more about regulations in this video than anything else. But when it comes to the Brics, there's so much FUD going on around that. You know, everybody wants you to think that XRP isn't going to be utilized as a bridge currency all of a sudden. But yet we see all the big players already talking like it's already happening. You know, it's the same reason you've seen Rosie Rios say that the train has left the station. You see the IMF and the BIS, if they wouldn't even be pushing ahead without this type of technology. They wouldn't even be pushing ahead without something like XRP. They said they're going to be stable coins, XRP and XLM, but they're going to be high valued stable coins. They're going to be moving value every single day from one country to another country. And if you want to cash in on that, all you got to do is stay patient until it happens. I see so many people giving up. And I think what's shaking most people out of crypto is other retail investors acting like they're experts. Nobody's really an expert in crypto. There's so much speculation still that nobody could be called an expert. I'm not an expert. I tell you all the time, listen, I get things wrong. Some of you pointed out in the comments section, and then you send me looking in other directions at things. But we're learning together, and we're going to cross that finish line together. We're going to get rich together. And, you know, I said that ever since day one. You know, I don't come here and pretend to know everything, but I know the facts that I've seen up to this point. And I shared all those facts with all of you along the way. And if there's something bad about XRP, I point that out as well. If something happens around Ripple, I point it out. Because I want you to know everything you possibly can about your investment. That'll help you understand what you are holding. But you know, like I always tell you, until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, so we can get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.